Pavel Yaworski.
Kids competing in the IBJJF.
Oh, and this is possibly dangerous for Roberto, and he gets a tap.
We could see the tap. There it is.
Ruotolo looking at tap. And run down without doing good here. Wow. Oh, look at that. He jumped off the wall to take the back. That was incredible.
For that Ruotolo team.
He's got it. Unbelievable. Ty Ruotolo.
For most athletes, becoming the best in one sport is enough. For most people, winning a world championship is a lifetime achievement. But Cade and Ty Ruotolo were different. Because before they were champions, before the millions of views, before one championship, they were just two kids from California who decided they wanted to become impossible to beat. Born just minutes apart and raised on the beaches of Southern California, Cade and Ty were homeschooled so they could spend every day training. The brothers didn't just become world champions. They didn't grow up as the biggest athletes. They weren't the strongest. They weren't the oldest. But they had something most competitors never develop: a belief that every position was an opportunity. Every scramble was an attack. Every second their opponent wasn't finishing the fight, they were losing control of it. How do you stop someone who never stops attacking? But their story wasn't supposed to happen this fast, because before they became the faces of modern grappling, they had to become teenagers fighting grown men. And that started with a decision their family made years earlier. Cade and Ty were born in Hawaii before moving to California, where they would eventually begin their martial arts journey. From the beginning, the twins were inseparable. Same age, same obsession.
For me, it's always changing. Yeah, I like say I see a video and I'm like, I like that top game. I think I'm gonna start playing that game. And sometimes I see like a sick guard video. I'm like, I think I'm gonna start playing guard again.
But their story didn't begin with Jiu Jitsu. It started with movement, surfing, skateboarding, being competitive with each other. Everything became a challenge. That competitive relationship would eventually lead them to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And once they found it, everything changed.
No matter what, I know he's got my back, and
yeah, we're always trying to be there for each other. We were so competitive in anything we did. We weren't battling each other every day. We probably wouldn't be even close to as good as we are.
The biggest advantage they had wasn't athleticism. It wasn't genetics. It was repetition. Every single day, they had someone who knew their game better than anyone else. Imagine spending your childhood training against someone exactly your age, with the same motivation, with the same goals, and the same refusal to lose. If Cade developed a new sweep, Ty was the first person trying to stop it. If Ty found a submission, Cade spent the next week finding the escape. Most competitors spend years searching for the perfect training partner. The Ruotolos grew up with one, and that created something rare. They never became comfortable. They were constantly forced to evolve. As they got older, their family made a decision that would accelerate their development even further. They committed fully to Jiu Jitsu. The twins were homeschooled, allowing them to structure their days around training. The twins started training at the legendary Art of Jiu Jitsu Academy under Mendez brothers Rafael and Guilherme Mendez. While most kids their age were going to school, coming home, and practicing a few times a week, Cade and Ty were living like professional athletes before they were even teenagers. And immediately, people noticed something different. Not because they were winning, because of how they were winning. Training at AOJ accelerated that development. The Mendez brothers had created one of the most technical gyms in the world. By their teenage years, Cade and Ty weren't just promising prospects, they were problems. They started winning major youth tournaments, then adult divisions. Soon, the black belts would find out exactly who Cade and Ty Ruotolo were. The problem with becoming famous young is that expectations arrive before you're ready. For Cade and Ty, there was no slow introduction, no years to develop away from attention. The spotlight arrived immediately. Every scramble, every transition, every exchange. They wanted opponents uncomfortable, because once someone was uncomfortable, mistakes followed.
You got to explore different routes to try to get to the victory. You can't just bore the audience, it's just not my thing.
The Ruotolos wanted chaos, and chaos favored them. By the time they reached their late teenage years, the twins were already competing against some of the biggest names in the sport. One of the biggest examples came through WNO. The Ruotolos weren't showing up just to participate. They were showing up to prove they belonged. Then came the moment that changed everything. 2022 ADCC World Championships, the biggest tournament in no-gi grappling. At only 19 years old, Cade won the 170-pound ADCC World Championship.
Oh, he's tapping.
And Cade Ruotolo just submitted Mika Galvão. Are you kidding?
He became the youngest male ADCC champion since the tournament's creation. But the story wasn't over, because standing beside him was his twin brother.
He's going for that Ruotolo chain.
He's got it! Unbelievable! Ty Ruotolo! Katagatami finished from the back.
Ty, winning ADCC was only the beginning, because after conquering the biggest tournament in grappling, the twins were about to enter an even bigger stage of their careers. And that's where their story became bigger than Jiu Jitsu. Winning the ADCC at 19 years old would have been enough for most athletes, a career-defining moment, a lifetime achievement. But for Cade Ruotolo, it was just the beginning. For most competitors, that would be the moment where they slow down, where they enjoy the achievement, where they prove they belong. The biggest reason the Ruotolos became so difficult to deal with was simple. They didn't look like traditional jiu-jitsu competitors and were constantly evolving.
And I told him, like, this is a war. You're either gonna sit and die or you're gonna put yourself back out there and kill the guy. So that's what he did. He manned up.
Ty's coaching, I couldn't have done it without Ty's coaching. The 2 cents he was adding throughout the match. It's crazy how in a match your mental state goes through it's like a wave, so many different waves of your.
Cade became known for one of the most aggressive attacking styles in modern no-gi grappling. His guard passing wasn't built around slowly breaking someone down. It was built around forcing reactions. Ty developed a similar identity. He became one of the most creative submission hunters in the sport. But becoming champions wasn't just about talent. It was about who they were surrounded by.
Ty Ruotolo and Cade Ruotolo, huge honor for me. Guys, I'm a huge fan of those two guys over here. In my opinion, they're changing Jiu-Jitsu. Like, if you guys watch any Jiu-Jitsu tournament that they're in, it's always like the most exciting tournament to watch.
The Ruotolos had spent years training under the Mendes brothers at AOJ, learning a system built around movement and innovation. They weren't kept away from dangerous opponents. They were thrown into the deep end, and they kept swimming. One of the clearest examples came through Cade's rivalry with another young phenom, Mika Galvão. For years, fans wondered what would happen when two of the most talented young grapplers of their generation finally met. When Cade and Mika met, it wasn't just another match. It felt like a preview of the next decade of jiu-jitsu.
And I was like a little bit disheartened on the gi, you know? I was just like, man, I was like, it just sucks because it's just, the strength is like, I felt like my jiu-jitsu wasn't that, like, it was better, if anything. It's just, it's so hard to compete with that strength, you know?
They weren't just winning, they were changing expectations.
Oh, he's tapping.
And Cade Ruotolo just submitted Mika Galvão.
In 2022, the brothers made a decision that changed everything. They entered one championship, and suddenly, the two most exciting grapplers in the world were about to become martial arts stars. When one championship signed the brothers, it wasn't just adding two talented grapplers. It was adding two athletes who fit perfectly into the promotion's vision. One wanted submission grappling that felt like a fight. Fast, aggressive, finish-focused. The exact style Cade and Ty had built their entire careers around. Cade made his one championship debut on May 20th, 2022, against Japanese grappler Shinya Aoki. Aoki was not just another opponent. He was a legend, a former one lightweight MMA world champion, a veteran with decades of experience. For many young grapplers, facing someone like Aoki would be overwhelming. For Cade, it was an introduction on one of the world's biggest stages.
Ankle pick, nice to a body lock. There we go, just as I say it. Beautiful back take. Oh, look at that. He jumped off the wall to take the back of Shinya. That was incredible.
Oh my goodness, he's got Aoki tied up
he's
like a ball of
squeezing.
twine.
His brother Ty said, you gotta go for it.
Final seconds, final 10 seconds.
He looked exactly like the same competitor who had been dominating the mats for years. Then came the opportunity to make history. In November 2022, Cade faced Uwali Kurtsev for the inaugural one lightweight submission grappling world championship. And this time, he wasn't just competing, he was fighting for a title. But pressure always makes diamonds.
Well, he's doing a good job of fighting the hands. First thing he has to do is fight those hands, but he got extended.
As he taps, it's over. Heel hook, Cade Ruotolo gets it done.
At just 19 years old, he became the first one lightweight submission grappling world champion. Another record. While Cade was making history, Tai was building his own legacy, facing Gary Tonin for the lightweight submission grappling world championship, and staying true to everything that led them to dominate the sport.
Uh-oh, he's got a darts locked in.
Right there.
Uh-oh, that looks like an anaconda. He's got to move.
Inside the first 2 minutes, how do you do? How about that?
Suddenly, the Ruotolo brothers weren't just famous because they were twins. They were champions independently, 2 world champions, 2 different styles, 2 different careers happening at the same time. For years, critics argued that grappling was too slow, too technical, too difficult for casual fans. The Ruotolos challenged that idea. Their matches looked different. Every second felt like something could happen, and that made people care. Unlike many elite jiu-jitsu competitors who transition late into MMA, Cade and Tai have always understood that grappling is only one piece of the puzzle. They grew up watching combat sports. They trained striking. They studied MMA. And eventually, both brothers made the decision to begin pursuing a future inside the cage. The Ruotolos made their intention of eventually competing in MMA very clear from the beginning.
Honestly, like
You want to get paid now.
I want to get paid for it. Like honestly, on a real note, like there's been, people are getting paid for bare knuckle. My brother did that countless times for free. You know what I mean, at the house. So like, I love fighting. I'm a fighter. My brother says it all the time. Like I know my brother loves fighting too, but
on June 7th, 2024, at 167 in Bangkok, Thailand, Cade Ruotolo made his professional MMA debut against Blake Cooper. Instead of looking overwhelmed, Cade looked comfortable like he always did.
The left arm he's trying to get him underneath the rear neck and choke attempt.
The same submission that had won him countless grappling matches now worked inside the cage. A perfect MMA debut. And more importantly, proof that the transition was possible. But Cade wasn't interested in just collecting one win, because that was never how the Ruotolos operated. They weren't chasing moments. They were chasing legacy. His next test came at 169 on November 9th, 2024. This time, the opponent was Ahmed Mujati. But what followed was another masterclass.
As he goes to the bottom. Cade Ruotolo, there's the neck.
Oh boy, oh look at him submit. Ahmed Mustafa. The time is up and it's over. Oh my goodness, what a sophomore appearance.
At 171 on February 20th, 2025, Cade faced undefeated Argentinian prospect Nicolas Vigna. Vigna entered the fight with a 7-0 record, including 4 submission victories. The bigger the threat, the bigger the performance for Cade.
Danger, and Cade uses his head to tighten it up, and now he's going to turn clockwise and just apply that squeeze.
3 fights, 3 finishes. On May 15th, 2026, Cade stepped into the cage at ONE's event in Bangkok to face Hiroyuki, Japanese beast Tetsuka. Tetsuka wasn't a newcomer, he was a veteran, a former Pancrase champion with years of experience in MMA and a reputation as a heavy hitter. Then came the moment that changed the entire fight.
Ruotolo. Oh! There's that right hand! Exploding down the middle! Cade!
But there was another elephant in the room. What about Tai? Because throughout their entire lives, the brothers had moved together. When Cade accomplished something, Tai was usually right there. On September 5th, 2025, at ONE Fight Night 35, Tai Ruotolo made his MMA debut against another young phenom, Adrian the Phenom Lee. And this was not an easy first fight. Lee entered the matchup undefeated at 3-0. This wasn't a newcomer fighting another newcomer. It was 2 young stars being tested against each other. And for Tai, the transition looked natural. The same chaos that made him terrifying in grappling followed him into MMA. Tai showed he wasn't just surviving them, he was building his own style. After hurting Lee with his pressure and forcing a scramble, Tai took the back and finished the fight with a rear naked choke late in the 2nd round. A successful debut, a statement, and another reminder that the Ruotolo brothers weren't entering MMA just to participate. They were there to take over. Now comes the hardest question, because beating grapplers in submission tournaments is one challenge. Becoming an elite fighter is another. 2 teenagers beating black belts, 2 brothers becoming world champions. Two grapplers changing an entire sport. Now they're trying to change another one. And maybe that's what makes this chapter so interesting, because Cade and Ty are no longer chasing the title of best grapplers in the world. They already earned that respect. Now they're chasing something much bigger.